Saw X, or Saw 10, yes, if you want to be real pedantic about that title. Yeah, this is the latest in a series that I could have swore ended like 3 movies ago. I heard some people liken this to like the Fast and Furious of the horror genre. Like, if you've seen one of these movies, you've practically seen them all, so you kind of know what to expect. But with Saw 10, oddly enough, I think you should expect something a little bit different. So John Kramer is traveling to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure, hoping for a miraculous cure to his newfound brain cancer, only to discover that the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. So armed with a newfound purpose, the infamous serial killer is using deranged and ingenious traps to turn the tables on the con artists, in a sense adding a whole new layer to the Saw formula. And if you've ever seen a Saw movie before, you kind of get the gist of what these traps are all about. Every single one of them even more gruesome than the other. Yes, a medical professional might look at the outcome of these traps and might not find them the most plausible. And usually, I'm not one to go on and say, oh yeah, the gore is what makes movies scary. But if you've ever seen a Saw movie before, those might be the only exception to that rule. Saw X, if anybody is thinking of going into this movie and you are squeamish at the thought of seeing blood just dripping everywhere, if you're squeamish at the very thought of bones just cracking and twisting and pulling in every which direction, this is probably not the movie for you, because my brother will be the first one to tell you, we were wusses tonight. We were looking away from this screen a lot of the time. Every time I heard like an ankle breaking or something like that, even just the simplest thing for a Saw movie, I was turning away in fear like, oh God, no, that looks like it hurts. Like, I feel that pain. That's where the fear of the Saw movies come from. As well as, of course, not to mention the iconic performance of Tobin, who is once again frightening in this. You, of course, have his signature, "Let's play a game." You know, the famous line he says right before he disposes of another victim. But this time, as I mentioned in the synopsis, this is a John Kramer who's got time left on the clock. Minimal time, to be more precise. This is a dude with terminal brain cancer. And when these punks him over, like, he will stop at nothing to get his revenge. And I gotta tell you, this whole premise and this whole setup and the given circumstances, it is unlike anything I've ever seen before in a Saw flick. Like, it completely caught me off guard, and I was like, am I caring for the serial killer? Like, what's going on here? I'm really feeling for this frail old man who has committed such heinous crimes to people. And I'll say it, yeah, I was. Because cancer. And the people who are cheating him out of this revolutionary treatment. And these are your typical dumb villains, and they aren't the smartest tools in the shed. That was something my brother brought up to me on the drive home. And I'm thinking, you know what? I am willing to give the lack of intelligence a pass here, because think about it. This is horror. This genre is known for having a bevy of dumb characters sprinkled all throughout. Because if you didn't have at least a slight amount of dumb characters in scary movies, you probably wouldn't have some of the greatest scary movies of all time at all. So I think these characters all definitely serve their purpose to the conflicts. Tobin is, once again, so freaking good in this. And I feel like he's the most frightening in this movie, all while he's justifying his actions. Because you really think back to the entire franchise of what this character has done in the past. And with this dialogue being delivered in the most solemn, honest way, that's where it really hits you that you are pulling for a guy who has been so villainous for so long. And it's crazy what they've done with Saw X. This is a humongous surprise. I found myself completely invested in this thing. An hour and 45 minutes flew by for me. Like, I found myself glued to the screen, and I was having so much fun with this. It is very well helmed, brutal kills, so freaking inventive. A lot of these traps could be deemed medically impossible by a medical professional. Like, how in the hell do certain characters survive certain elements? But again, just because of how entertaining it is, I'm willing to give that portion a pass. I will say that I did have a tidbit of a problem with the editing in Saw X. There were certain points where the kills were going on, and there was some music video style editing thrown into the mix, like quick jump cuts. I guess to kind of cater to the few who decide to sneak into this theater at a high school age. You know, just so they aren't completely scarred for life. But I feel like the big issue that's going to hold Saw X back from being the best horror movie of the year, The ending and the final resolution seems a tad too convenient. With how the first and the second act are all laid out for you, and again, I'm not going to spoil this because I want you guys to check it out, but I was kind of predicting that the third act was going to kind of go a certain way, and I kind of wanted it to tug at my heartstrings a little bit more. And not to say that unpredictability in this case is a bad thing, because honestly, I wasn't able to guess half of the stuff that happened in this movie at least, and that made it all the more exciting. I just feel like the way this resolution was presented made it a little bit too convenient. Like, it was a tad bit too easy to get there. But besides that, man, like, I really dug Saw X. I highly recommend it. If you guys aren't too squeamish, definitely go check this out on the big screen if possible. This might just be the best of the Saw sequels that we've gotten up to this point. There's been a lot of them. And if you've been following the Saw franchise since the very beginning, you know that they've been hit or miss. Saw X just might finally be the best one since the original. I'm gonna give Saw X an A-. God damn, what a pleasant surprise this was. Very much looking forward to seeing what this director does next, especially in the horror genre. Very, very curious to see what else he has up his sleeve. Let me know what you thought of Saw X down in the comments section below. Is this your favorite of the Saw movies? Is this your favorite sequel? Lots that we can discuss all down there. Guys, I love discussing all new things in movies and entertainment. Y'all are invited to the party. It's a great community over here. Do consider subscribing and become a family member today. Hit that thumbs up as well. Big Halloween special going on, of course, in addition to all the new releases that are coming out. I'm going to be watching The Exorcist Believer this weekend, and The Exorcist is my favorite horror movie of all time, and I'm very, very, very nervous for that one. It should be a lot of fun to check out, and it should be a lot of fun to discuss with you lovely people. Y'all are the best. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.